Dear friend, now, as the day gently comes to a close and the night softly wraps itself around everything, I invite you to pause with me for a moment, to truly pause, to step away from all the worries, all the noise of life, and enter into a different space, a sacred realm that is waiting for you. In the stillness of this night, find yourself a quiet corner. Maybe it is that familiar chair, your beloved bed, or simply a place where you can close your eyes and take a deep, slow breath. Let your breath flow like a gentle breeze, carrying away the heaviness of your mind. As you breathe in, you are receiving the tender gift of life from God. As you breathe out, you are letting go of the weight that has been clinging to your heart. Can you hear it? In this silence, something sacred is unfolding. Picture yourself now walking through a gate, not an ordinary gate, but one that opens into a hidden kingdom in the night, a place where there are no electric lights, no noise or clamor, and yet it is filled with a holy light, a light that does not blind but soothes the soul. In your hands, a shield begins to appear, a royal shield, not made for fighting, but to protect you from the arrows of anxiety flying through your thoughts. Etched upon it is a message from heaven. You are the one who is protected, and just ahead of you, standing strong, yet tender, is a fortress, not made of cold stone, but of light and living presence, a place where you can take shelter, a place where every wound, every tangled thought, every downpour of emotion is gently calmed. That fortress is not far away. In fact, it is already within you. Your very soul is the dwelling place of God, and He Himself is your spiritual fortress, unshakable, unchanging, always open whenever you need Him. I do not know what today has held for you. Perhaps it was a long day, a quiet battle at work, in your family, or within yourself. Maybe you pushed through with a smile, even though your heart felt heavy. Maybe you tried to forget a certain pain just so you could keep going. But tonight, you do not have to hold it all together anymore. You do not need to act strong. You do not need to run away. This is the moment to come home to the truth that you are deeply loved, that you are the one God waits for each night, so that He can gently cover you, quietly listen to you. In a world that moves so fast, He is the one who never rushes. You can sit down now, you can be still, you can slow your breath, and when you do, you will begin to notice wings gently wrapping around your soul. Not wings made of flesh and bone, but wings made of presence. That presence does not push, it does not scold, it does not demand answers. It simply is like the moon shining quietly in the night sky, soft, steady, never asking to be seen, yet always there. Dear friend, tonight is not just the end of a day, it is a doorway into restoration, a new beginning for your soul, and you are being invited in. You do not need to bring anything, just yourself, exactly as you are. Step into it. In the stillness of this night, there is someone waiting for you. There is a love that longs to whisper to your heart. There is a glimpse of heaven woven into every breath you take tonight. Now, as the day gently comes to a close and the night softly wraps itself around everything, I invite you once again to pause with me for a moment, to truly pause, step away from all the worries, all the noise of life, and enter into a different space, a sacred realm that is waiting for you. In the stillness of this night, find yourself a quiet corner. Maybe it is that familiar chair, your beloved bed, or simply a place where you can close your eyes and take a deep, slow breath. Let your breath flow like a gentle breeze, carrying away the heaviness of your mind. As you breathe in, you are receiving the tender gift of life from God. As you breathe out, you are letting go of the weight that has been clinging to your heart. Can you hear it? In this silence, something sacred is unfolding. Picture yourself now walking through a gate, not an ordinary gate, but one that opens into a hidden kingdom in the night, a place where there are no electric lights, no noise or clamor, and yet it is filled with a holy light, a light that does not blind, but soothes the soul. In your hands, a shield begins to appear, a royal shield, not made for fighting, but to protect you from the arrows of anxiety flying through your thoughts. Etched upon it is a message from heaven. You are the one who is protected, and just ahead of you, standing strong yet tender, is a fortress not made of cold stone, but of light and living presence, a place where you can take shelter, a place where every wound, every tangled thought, every downpour of emotion is gently calmed. That fortress is not far away. In fact, it is already within you. Your very soul is the dwelling place of God, and He Himself is your spiritual fortress, unshakable, unchanging, always open whenever you need Him. I do not know what you have walked through today. It might have been a long day, a quiet battle at work, in your family, or even deep within yourself. Maybe you were holding back tears behind a tired smile, or maybe you tried to forget a pain just so you could keep moving forward. But tonight, you do not have to carry it all anymore. You do not have to pretend to be strong. You do not have to keep running. This is the moment to return. Return to the truth that you are loved, that you are the one God waits for each evening, so He can gently cover you and quietly listen. In this world that is always in a rush, He remains the one who is never in a hurry. You can sit down now and be still. You can slow your breath, and as you do, you will begin to notice wings softly wrapping around your soul, not made of flesh and bone, but made of presence. That presence does not pressure. It does not scold. It does not question. It simply is. Like the moon in the night sky, gentle, steady, never demanding attention, but always there. Dear friend, tonight is not just the ending of a day. It is a doorway into restoration, a fresh beginning for your soul, and you are being invited to step in. No preparation needed, just you exactly as you are. Step in, right here. In the stillness, there is someone waiting for you. There is a love that longs to whisper to you. There is a little glimpse of heaven quietly rising with every breath you take tonight. Have you ever had a night where you could not quite name what you were feeling? You only knew something was stirring deep within, like a stream flowing beneath the still surface. You tried reading a few pages, scrolled your phone a bit, took a sip of water, but then returned to that same empty space, a vast emptiness within, not caused by anything in particular, just a quiet, unnamed sorrow. Maybe your day was full of conversations, messages, numbers, meetings. But tonight, you realize you still feel alone, not because no one is around, but because no one has truly touched the deepest part of your soul. And it is that very place, the part of you that holds unhealed wounds, unfulfilled dreams, unanswered questions that longs to be seen, to be understood, to be comforted. Dear friend, allow yourself to feel that. Do not push it away. Do not force yourself to be artificially positive. Sometimes healing does not come by getting over it quickly, but by having the courage to sit with your sadness, to look it in the eye and whisper, I know you are here. Your soul is longing to be heard. And tonight, that is what you are doing. Listening to yourself and listening to the gentle call of God. You might picture your mind as a room filled with drawers long closed. Some you have forgotten. Some you are afraid to open. But tonight, His light is quietly entering every crack, not to judge, not to expose, but to bring comfort, clarity, and healing. You do not need to tidy everything up before you come to God. You do not need to have it all figured out in order to be loved. He loves you even while your heart is a mess. He touches you Even when you feel lost, you may feel small, ordinary, like you have done nothing remarkable. But to him, you are a priceless creation, a unique soul carrying a story only you can tell. And God is listening to every word of your heart, even the ones you cannot speak out loud. You do not need to say it perfectly. You do not even need to say it at all. Just be here, in this moment, breathing with him, and allow your heart to soften. I know you have been strong for so long. You have carried so much. But tonight, you do not have to hold it all by yourself. Let your heart rest. Let the tears, if they come, fall like a gentle surrender to a love far greater than any understanding. Do not be afraid of the dark, because it is in the darkness that God's light becomes the clearest. Do you remember the power outages when you were a child? The whole family would gather around a candle. No TV, no phones, just silence and soft voices. It was dark, but somehow it felt warm, because safety did not come from electricity. It came from being together. And in the same way, God does not need to be loud to show he is near. He just needs to be present, and you will feel it, a gentle warmth, a peace that slowly soaks in, a knowing deep inside that you no longer have to carry everything alone. You can place your hand over your heart, feel its rhythm slow and steady. Whether you are paying attention or not, your heart keeps beating, faithfully sustaining your life. And in the same way, whether you notice it or not, God is faithfully holding you. Tonight, you do not need to do much. Just let go. Just open your heart. Just allow him to be the place you lean into, like a child returning to their mother's embrace after a long day. And if tears begin to fall, let them. They are not a sign of weakness. They are the quiet whispers of your soul finally being released. You are not falling apart. You are being held after those moments of being honest with yourself, with the quiet fears gnawing away inside, with the weariness you have not yet named. Something sacred begins to rise within you. It is not an instant solution, not a promise that tomorrow will be free of challenges. It is a small and gentle light called faith. Faith does not need to begin with something grand. Sometimes it is simply a whisper in your heart. Lord, if you are here, please let me rest. That whisper, simple and trembling, is enough to open a door. And behind that door, you will find something miraculous, a shelter that cannot be shaken. Imagine now that you are standing in the middle of a storm. The wind is howling, rain is pouring, and the sky feels like it is about to break. But right in the center of that chaos, there is a covering not made of brick or steel, but of the living presence of God. When you step beneath that covering, the storm outside does not disappear. The rain still falls, the wind still blows, but you are different because you are no longer fighting it alone. That is what faith does. It does not erase the storm. It places you beneath a place of safety, protection, and comfort. The psalmist once whispered a gentle truth in the dark. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I do not need to quote it word for word, because I believe you can feel it. Feel the truth that there are invisible wings, wide enough to cover every fragile part of your heart. You may feel too tired to believe in anything right now, but you do not need great faith, just a tiny bit of trust, like a small seed, and the rest, God will make it grow. Let this image stay with you tonight. You are resting beneath the wings of an eagle, not because you know how to fly, but because you are being carried. Those wings never tire. They do not let you go, and they are never too late. If your heart feels unsteady, just whisper these words: I rest in you. Repeat it gently, no pressure. Just let the words fall like soft raindrops on a still lake. I rest in you. That is not just a sentence. It is a key, a door through which peace begins to enter. When someone seeks shelter, they are not looking for something fancy or perfect. They just need a place that is solid, quiet enough to still their soul, and safe enough to exhale the deepest truths of their heart. And that is what faith offers. Faith is not a magic cloak that keeps you from every trial. It is a sturdy wing that shields you in the storm. It is a place where you can lay down your burdens without fear of judgment, a sacred space where fear is named and tears are allowed to fall freely. How many rainy seasons have you walked through in your life? Some storms you endured in silence, without anyone ever knowing. Some heartaches you got through with nothing but a bright smile. But tonight, you do not need to hold it all together anymore, because there is one who is ready to lift you, not with harsh words, but with gentle eyes and open arms. I invite you, in this very moment, to close your eyes once more and picture yourself like a weary traveler at the end of a long journey, finally finding a shelter called God. You do not enter that space with your hands full of luggage. You enter with a tired heart, and you see that this place holds nothing but presence. But that presence is enough to calm your spirit. You hear a whisper, not from outside, but from deep within you. I have always been here, not just today. Not only when your prayers are loud, but even before you knew how to call his name, he was already there. And that presence has never left you, not even for a single breath. Let this image soak into your heart. You are a lost child in the woods. You are running, afraid, heart pounding, and then you collapse, too tired to go on. And in the moment, you let go. A familiar pair of arms wraps around you from behind. No words, just a gentle embrace, just being there. And somehow, you know, you have come home. That is the place of faith, where the mind does not need to understand everything, where nothing has to be proven, just a quiet place to stop and simply be. Perhaps you have doubted before. You have felt disappointed. You have wondered if prayer even makes a difference. But faith does not require you to always be strong. It only asks you to soften your heart once more. In a world full of noise, faith is the moment you choose silence, to hear the quietest voice within you, the part that still believes you are loved, protected, and held by someone greater than anything your eyes can see. I invite you to repeat this simple phrase with me as a gentle confession of faith. I rest in you. Say it slowly. Feel each word. I rest in you. You might not feel anything dramatic after saying those words, but trust that every time you repeat them, your mind is settling like dry ground, soaking in the gentle rain. You no longer need to search for something far away. Faith is not out there. It is already within you. The place where you tremble most, that is where his light longs to shine. The place where you feel weakest, that is where he longs to cover you. The place where you feel you have nothing left to offer, that is exactly where he wants to dwell. Not because you are enough, but because he loves. So take another breath and simply say, Lord, I place my trust in you. Let me rest in your arms. Dear friend, there are moments in life when we do not just need comfort. We need to be reminded of who we are, that we are stronger than our fears, that we were born to overcome, not by striving in our own strength, but through the power of God's presence. You may be used to bowing your head, staying quiet, enduring the pain. You may be used to telling yourself, I am okay, even when deep inside, something is quietly breaking. But tonight, I am not inviting you to keep enduring. I am inviting you to stand in faith. In the highest truth of all, you are not alone. You have never been abandoned, and you are surrounded by a power greater than anything on this earth. Imagine this. Outside, the darkness is still thick, but inside of you, a light has begun to rise. Not a blinding light that makes you turn away, but a soft, powerful light like dawn gently breaking through the night, like a small flame warming a cold soul. And from that light, a voice begins to rise within you. Not someone else's voice, but your own, reawakened by the new life you are finding in God. Word by word, you begin to declare what you may have forgotten. I am not afraid of the night. I am not alone, for you are with me. You may still feel weak. You may still feel uncertain. You may still have questions that are unanswered. But remember, these declarations are not built on feelings. They are grounded in an unchanging truth. God is here, and He has never left you. Every time you repeat those words, you are not just comforting yourself. You are creating a new wave in the Spirit, a wave that pushes back the darkness, breaks chains, and brings peace like a fresh stream in the dry desert. Each fear becomes like a fragile bubble, bursting and disappearing. Each old chain begins to fall away. You start to feel as if someone is gently peeling back the heavy layers that have covered you, revealing someone who is free, redeemed, and unconditionally loved. Picture yourself standing on a massive rock in the middle of a stormy sea, waves crashing around you, winds howling above you, but your feet remain steady, not because you are strong, but because the rock beneath you is unshakable, and that rock is the promise of God. I will never leave you. I will be your fortress, your hiding place. Even when your eyes see nothing, even when your ears hear nothing, that promise remains as solid as stone, and you were made to stand on it. Do you know something? With every word of faith you speak, you are bringing yourself back to life. You are doing the one thing your spiritual enemy hoped you would never do. You are daring to stand in the light. You are daring to call yourself covered. You are daring to believe you are worthy of protection. And when you dare to do that, God's power is no longer a distant idea. It becomes a shield that surrounds you, gentle yet unbreakable. So, dear friend, say it once more from the deepest part of your soul. I am not afraid of the night. I am not alone. I am covered. You do not need to force it. You do not need perfect belief. You just need to speak and let the words sink into the deepest parts of your soul, like rain falling on dry earth. Because the moment you dare to speak, something sacred begins to stir. You are returning to who you truly are, a beloved child, resting in the arms of the Father. Now that your soul has been awakened, now that the wings of faith have begun to open wide in the night, I invite you to go even further. Not just to say, I am not afraid of the night, but to live as one who has been fully set free from darkness, one who carries a flame that cannot be extinguished. You may have thought of yourself as small in a vast world, as if your voice was too faint to be heard over the roar of worry. But you have forgotten something. You are not speaking alone. Every time you declare these truths, heaven listens. The whole of heaven leans in, and every trembling word you whisper becomes a bold proclamation that terrifies the unseen enemy. Because they know this, someone who has begun to believe in the power of God is someone who can no longer be defeated. Let me take you into another image. Imagine you are walking through a valley, tall cliffs rising on both sides. The sky is heavy and dark, thunder echoing all around. This is what the inner life looks like when there is no faith, lonely, trapped by fear, with no way out. But then, in the distance, you see a door. It is not large, it is not glowing, but it is clear enough for you to recognize that is the way out. And you run toward it, not with your own strength, but with the words of God lifting you step by step. Each step you take becomes a declaration. I belong to the light. I am being led. I am not abandoned. And that door opens, not because you are strong, but because God sees your courage to choose the light instead of staying in the comfort zone of fear. That is the power of a declaration. You are no longer letting your circumstances decide your emotions. You do not wait for peace to say, I believe. You say, I believe, in order to invite peace in. You say, I am protected, even while your heart is still unsure. Because you know, truth does not depend on feelings. Truth is still truth, whether you are strong or not. And the truth is this: you are held in the hands of the one who never lets you fall. Dear friend, the night can no longer stop you. Worry can no longer bind you. Those worn-out voices that once whispered, you are not enough, you will not make it, you are just someone small and unseen. All of those voices are being drowned out now by the voice of the Spirit, saying, you are my child, you are protected, you are being carried in my everlasting arms. Stand tall in your spirit right now. Whether you are sitting or lying down, let your soul rise up like a warrior in the night, a warrior with no need for shining armor, because your weapon is your declaration. Whisper with me, I am covered in light. I do not retreat. I am not alone. I am surrounded by life from heaven. Repeat it, even in a whisper, even if only in your heart, but speak it, because with every word, an old part of you is being made new. I know. Maybe you have walked through days and nights when it felt like God was silent. Maybe you were disappointed. Maybe you were so weary that you did not even have breath left to pray. But the miracle is this: even when you did not call his name, he never left your side. And tonight, as you declare his power, you are reopening a door of connection that once felt closed, not through ritual, not through striving, but simply through surrender. You are here. I believe and I belong to you. Let these words become the anchor of your soul. I am not afraid of the night. I am not alone. I am covered. This phrase, simple as it may seem, if spoken with your whole heart, can become the most powerful declaration of your life, because it marks the moment you stop running and begin walking forward through the night, through the wind, through the rain, with your head held high, knowing you are not walking alone. Dear friend, once you have stood in the night and declared the power of God, something natural begins to happen. The light within you begins to spread. You do not need to try. You do not need to prove anything, because true light does not shout. It does not boast. It simply exists, gentle and impossible to hide. And it is this peaceful presence that others will begin to notice in you. A warmth, a quiet strength, a source of life they cannot quite explain. That is when you begin to realize you are not just healed for yourself. You have been invited to become a part of the healing meant for others. Have you ever thought that the prayers you whisper tonight do not stop with you? Every time you say, I am not alone, I am covered, I rest in you, it is not just refreshing your soul. It may be shaking open doors elsewhere, where other souls are curled up in the dark, just needing a small light to take the next step. I invite you, in this quiet space, to think of three people. You know, maybe they are tired, maybe they are suffering in silence, maybe they have not believed in prayer for a long time, maybe it is an old friend, a family member, or even someone you just scrolled past on social media. But something in their eyes caught your spirit. Call their names in your heart. Gently, you do not need to say them out loud, but let each name become a quiet prayer. Do not underestimate the power of a whisper. In the kingdom of heaven, the most powerful prayers are often not the loud ones, but the ones carried on the breath of silent love. When you think of someone with tenderness and lifting, you are doing something far greater than you know. You are connecting their soul to the source of life that you just touched. God does not only want to heal you, he wants you to become a bridge, a spark, a flame that lights the fire in someone else. And you do not need to preach. You do not need to persuade. You do not need to do something grand. Just share what you have experienced in your own way, like pouring a warm cup of tea, like placing a hand on someone's shoulder, like sending a message, sharing a post, or simply offering a quiet space in your heart where their name is lifted in mercy. Remember, to share is not to lecture. It is to be present. So once more, gently whisper, let them also find rest in you, as I have found rest. Let them know they are loved, they are seen, and they are not forgotten. Let your light reach them where they are, even if they do not know they need it. And if there is something stirring inside of you, a small action, a gentle word, a quiet desire to connect, do not hold it back, not to gain attention, not to seek approval, but because in the kingdom of love, when one person reaches out, all of heaven moves with them. Every time you bring light to someone, you are not going alone. You go with the soft wind of the Spirit, carrying the message. You are not forgotten. Maybe tonight, you are the one in need of that prayer. Maybe you do not have the strength to think of anyone else right now, and that is okay. We are not always the ones who lift others up. Some nights, you are the one who needs to be lifted, and someday, you will lift another. That is the gentle rhythm of a spiritual community, where no one is perfect, but everyone is essential. You do not need to belong to any group. You do not need a specific ritual. But if these prayers have touched your heart, if you feel comforted or connected, that alone is the sign that you are not walking alone. There are people like you somewhere in distant rooms, also breathing, also praying, also walking in this fragile but hopeful light. And if you feel ready, you can gently share your journey from tonight, not with preaching, not with advice, just with a simple truth. I was comforted. I was reminded I am not alone, and I believe you are worthy of that peace too. We do not need subscriptions. We do not need calls to action. We just need to connect in the silence of faith, like quiet waves beneath the surface. And those waves, they are forming an ocean of healing across this world. Believe this, when even one soul is lit with light, the darkness around others begins to fade. Dear friend, now that the declarations have been spoken, now that the light in your soul has awakened, you do not need to rush forward. Tonight, you do not need to do anything more. No proving, no striving. This is the moment to sit, to surrender into the peace that is flowing in, like underground water, soaking into dry earth after a long drought. I invite you now to adjust your posture a little, whether sitting or lying down. Let your body rest gently, naturally. No pressure, no effort. Just be here, in this moment, with no need to go anywhere. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and let it out slowly. Let each breath become a silent invitation, drawing you closer to the sacred presence. Inhale. You receive the gentle life from heaven. Exhale. You release the weariness, the questions, the old burdens. Each breath is a silent prayer. Each breath is a quiet step down the corridor of your soul. You do not need to think about anything. You do not need to fix anything. Do not try to find stillness. Let stillness find you, like morning mist settling quietly over the fields, like a stream slipping through rocks unseen, yet always flowing. Peace is like that. Not loud, not dramatic, but full and near. You might picture your soul like a room that has not been opened in a long time, damp, dusty, dim. But now you are slowly opening that door. Light begins to enter, not harsh, not hurried, but enough to illuminate each hidden corner. And you see, things are not as broken as you once believed. All it takes is a little light, a little breath, a little presence, and the room begins to feel like home again. A safe space for your spirit. You have come a long way. You have faced the truth within yourself. You have dared to lay down your burdens. You have named your darkness. You have stood in your power, and now is the time to stay, to be held, to rest beneath the wings of God. You do not need long prayers. You do not need more words. Sometimes the most beautiful prayer is not in language, but in complete stillness. If you wish, place your hand over your heart. Feel its rhythm. Feel life. Feel this one simple truth. You are being kept not because you are strong, but because there is one who never sleeps, never drifts away, never forgets, who is always watching over your soul. Whether you believe it or not, whether you feel it or not, you do not need to strain to feel peace. True peace requires nothing from you, only your presence. And you are here. That is enough. He knows you are listening. He knows you are present. And he knows your heart is longing to be held in a love that needs no words. There is nothing urgent now. There is nothing to fear. Tonight, you do not need to stand guard over your soul. There is one who is guarding it for you. All you need to do is rest gently, like a tired child curled into a mother's arms. No words, no worry, just sleep. And you are allowed to sleep in that protection, because God never tires. He will stay awake for you. Dear friend, at this moment, you no longer need to listen with your ears. You are listening with your breath, with your skin, with every cell that has grown weary. Now soaking in this deep rest, you are not listening with your mind anymore, but with your soul. And your soul, though once cracked and aching, is slowly beginning to heal, not with noise, not with music, not with grandeur, just quiet healing, like a stormy lake that now begins to settle, ripple by ripple. And then, one day soon, you will realize true peace is not the absence of storms. It is knowing that in the midst of the storm, you will not be swept away. You are beginning to absorb this presence, a presence that comes not from others, not from sound, but from the invisible one, who is more real than anything you can see. God is never in a hurry. He does not rush your faith. He does not demand certainty. He only invites you to stay, just for a little while, and then a little longer, like a father who does not scold a child for wandering too far, but opens his arms the moment his child returns. No need for long apologies. Just place your heart down and stop running. Picture yourself as a traveler, just emerging from a long journey through deep forests, over rugged mountains, across windswept and freezing lands. And now, you are finally sitting beside a small fire. No need to ask for directions. No need to plan for tomorrow. Just sit, knees pulled in, cloak wrapped tight, eyes gently closing, and let the life within that fire seep into every cold corner of your soul. The night is passing, but you are not drifting with it. You are anchored, held steady by an invisible thread called trust. Trust that even when your eyes see nothing, your ears hear nothing, your lips speak nothing, there is still one who sees, who hears, and who cherishes your every gentle breath. And in the deepest place within you, the place no one else can reach, something is beginning to shift. Not dramatic, not sudden, just a stillness, a breath, a clearing within your heart is being prepared to welcome new life. No more inner scolding, no more self-blame, no more rushing, only gentleness now, like a river flowing through a quiet field, and you lying there, at peace, embraced. If tears begin to fall, let them fall. No need to hold them back, for these are not tears of sorrow anymore. They are tears of coming home. Your soul is realizing it has found a resting place. It no longer needs to walk in fear. It no longer needs to pretend to be okay. It is allowed to be tender because it is held in the hands of one who has always been strong for you, and you will sleep. But this will be a different kind of sleep, not the kind to escape life, but the kind that brings healing, a sleep that holds you tenderly in dreams, a sleep where, if you wake in the night, you are no longer afraid, because beside you is the one who never slumbers. He watches over your soul with a love that never tires. Tonight, let all of you melt into this peace. Hold nothing back. Do not resist. Do not rush to understand. Just be here, in these wide open, sacred arms. As this night's journey draws to a close, as each layer of weariness is peeled away, as light begins to seep into the shadowed parts of your soul, you now sit in a holy place, a meeting point between your spirit and the mercy of God. This is not the end, nor is it exactly a beginning. It is a sacred pause where all you need to do is be still and know that all that is needed has already been given. There is no more need to ask in desperation, no more need to prove your worth, no more chasing after answers, because tonight, the only answer is presence, and that presence is holding you, not with words, not with conditions, but with the quiet, sacred silence that only unconditional love can bring. Sit a little longer. No need to think about tomorrow. No need to look back at yesterday. Just stay in this moment, breathing slowly, heart still, knowing you have been touched. There is nothing urgent now. The noise of the world has stayed outside. In this space, it is only you and the one who has loved you from the very beginning. And I want to tell you something. Something I hope you will hold like a whisper from heaven. Tonight, you are not sleeping alone. Your soul is no longer wandering, and the place where you lie has become holy ground where God enters with gentleness and care. Maybe you have felt invisible. Maybe you have tried so hard to be seen, to be accepted, to be enough. But tonight, you do not need to do anything. You have already been seen. You are already loved, and you have been chosen to rest. Every moment you have lived, every fall, every silent sorrow, every tear that no one else saw, God saw it all, and He is not disappointed in your weakness. He is not saddened by your struggle. In fact, He treasures those very moments, because that is where you were most real, and that is where He found a way to come close. Do not fear the long nights anymore. Do not tremble every time you close your eyes. Do not believe that you are fighting invisible battles all alone. From this moment on, you can exhale gently and whisper these words: God, I am here, and I know you are here too. Nothing more is needed. That one sentence is enough to move all of heaven, because to God, your gentle surrender is more precious than any offering. And tonight, you have given Him the most sacred gift, your weary heart. Still choosing to believe, I invite you now to close your eyes. If you have not already, place your hand over your heart, or simply let your hands rest by your side, and let this prayer sink into your soul like warm water in the chill of night. Lord, no more lonely nights. Tonight, I place myself in the shelter of your love. Let my soul sleep peacefully in you. Let my heart stop running. Stop fearing the dark. Stop trying to survive alone. I know now, only in your hands will I truly live. So tonight, I surrender, I let go, and I rest in you. Amen. And now, there is nothing more. No closing line, no instruction, just quiet gratitude flowing through your limbs, your breath, your fading thoughts as sleep draws near. Thank you for having the courage to complete this journey. Thank you for staying through to the final moment. Thank you, because you believed, even just a little, and that little has changed everything. May you have a night full of peace, a deep, healing sleep, and a radiant morning waiting just for you. The morning of one who has survived the night and no longer fears it.